Today, I'm going to show you how to automate anything with Google Antigravity, which is a free AI vibe coding tool, and then also using MCPs. So you can see, for example, here we actually use the MCP with Netlify and also with Supabase to create a database and a login page, and then also host this on a subdomain, right? So if we check this out, for example, we've got a new website for the AI Profit Boardroom, and it was all fully automated using the MCPs to deploy this subdomain and also to link it to Supabase and have login integration like you can see. So for example, here, if we actually go to join now, for example, people can log in and we've got this login account right here. So the cool thing about this is you're not just creating the front end, which is like super basic and easy, but also you can add these MCPs to just make Antigravity 10 times more powerful. You can also connect this with something like Claude Code as well, and then use even more MCPs. I'll come on to that later. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do this from scratch. So it's pretty simple and easy, and I'm going to show you how to set this up. I mean, the other cool thing about Antigravity as well is like you get Nana Banana, it can build out apps, it can build out tools, it has an agent that can test them in the browser and everything else. But we're going to start with the basics and then build up from there with MCPs, right? So we're going to go to Antigravity like so, and we're going to open up a new folder. And then, for example, we can set up a news folder. And let's say, for example, we're just trying to create something basic like a Tetris game, right? And, you can apply this to anything in your business, but I just want to show you a basic example, right? So if we go inside the agent now, what this is going to do is we're going to, first of all, just build out the project. So we're going to switch to planning mode, and then we're going to use one of the APIs. Now, you can also, this is another benefit of Antigravity, is you can use paid APIs, normally paid APIs, but you can use them for free. Like, for example, Claude Sonnet 4.5 thinking, for example. I'm going to stick with Flash because we're doing a live demo and this is going to be way faster to do. And then we're going to say something like, okay, build out a Tetris game like so, right? And you could say anything. Like for my business, for example, building out websites is great. Building out lead magnets is awesome. Building out mini apps that I can give away as a lead magnet would work really well. But I just want to show you a simple example with a Tetris game. So we're going to wait for this to load. And if you have any questions as we go along, like feel free to post them inside the comments and I'll answer them as best I can. You can see here, for example, we've got the full plan, the implementation plan for building this out, right? Super simple and easy. And all we did was just say that. Right? Just do this. And it goes off and does it. Now, this is based on something I call the Antigravity agent framework. And, most people are still like copying and pasting prompts, whilst a small group of AI builders are deploying agent systems that work 24/7, right? So, for example, if you check out the AI Profit Board and you see what people are building inside here, inside this community, it's pretty insane, right? So, for example, here you can see like Maddie building all this cool stuff. You've got people, for example, using Antigravity to build out apps that grab YouTube videos and Pinterest stats and all sorts of crazy stuff, and then add it to tracking sheets, etc. But I just want to get back to this, and I'm going to show you the framework that we use inside the AI Profit Board to do this, right? So we're going to click with proceed now, and then it's going to build out the front end for our tool, right? And it's just going to go through and just tick off all of these tasks. So as you can see, it's just generating the tools and that sort of thing. And if we go back, whilst that's loading, if we go back to the other project that we were building out, so for example, the AI Profit Boardroom website, right? One of the things that you can do inside Antigravity as well, that most people don't know, is you can click on the past conversations in the top right, and then you can look at previous conversations, right? So if you go back to a project and you open it up and you're like, where's all my history? How do I see what I've done previously? Then just click on the past conversation section and you'll see how we set up stuff like this, right? So for example, here, if we have a look through the chat, we can have a look at this one from 13 hours ago. Let's open that up. And you can see here to set up MCPs. So for example, to use an MCP, what we typically do is we'll wait for the front end to build out. And then from there, we're going to say like use Netlify MCP to deploy my project, right? And then the cool thing about this is, number one, you can link it to Netlify directly. By the way, the agent is now testing out the new tool that we just built. But number two, we can actually auto deploy. So every time we make a change to our project inside Antigravity, it will use the new MCPs that we install. So for example, like Supabase, if we're building out a database, but then also it's going to start adding the new updates and deploy them automatically to Netlify each time we make some changes. Like you see right here, so it says view your live site, and then boom, we've got the new updates right there. So let's go back to the Tetris app like you can see, and we can switch between windows. So if you right click the icon, you can switch between what you're building. So we're going to go back to the Tetris task like so. And now we're just going to confirm that and take a look what we got, right? So when you see this blue barrier, this blue border around the browser, that means the agent is testing it. We hit confirm. And that will start building it out. Now, whilst we're waiting for that, let's have a look what we got here. So it's building it out. Yeah, it's testing the game, etc. You can see it's testing the Tetris game here. What I've actually done is created a 30-day plan inside the AI Success Lab, which is a completely free community, connects you with 45,300 people. And you can see inside the 30-day plan, you've got a full AI automation blueprint on how to install these MCP servers. So you can see how you can basically use these MCPs and just follow this guide step by step if you want like help and tips on how to use this stuff. All right. So let's go back to Antigravity, see what we got here. So we actually have the visual evidence that is shown of testing this tool, as you can see. So we're going to accept all the new changes. And it said, I've finished building the premium Tetris game. The game features, here you go, right? And if we open this up, we can actually see the project right here. And then we can test it out ourselves, right? Because the agent has finished testing it. So number one, like the actual game itself looks pretty cool. If we refresh it like so, we can test this out. Now what we can do is we can go to the three dots at the top, click on MCP servers, and just connect any of the MCP servers that we want to use, right? So there's a bunch of cool ones. Like, for example, you've got Dart. Dart basically allows you to kind of like manage this like with different agents. You've got, for example, Cloud Run to deploy apps to Google Cloud Run. One of the things that you can do, and this is free, right, is you can connect this to Supabase, or you can connect this to Netlify. So, for example, here, if we click on Netlify, we can see that it's already installed. If you've never installed it before, then what I've actually got is a free training inside here that shows you how to get your access token and that sort of thing. But it literally takes like 2 minutes. And then once we've done that, we can go back to the agent, go inside here, and just say, okay, deploy this to a subdomain on Netlify, right? And it'll begin to create the project and host it on the subdomain. So let's wait for that to load. It's now using the MCP Netlify. I'm also just going to allow it to proceed with terminal commands and proceed with that as well. Some of these changes, for example, like the agent, you can just allow it to like run on auto if you want to, right? If you're okay with that. If you're not okay with that, then no problem. Like you don't have to. But it's just going to make it easier when I'm showing you the updates and that sort of thing. Now we're going to switch to fast as well inside here. So you can switch between planning and fast at the bottom. I'm going to stick with fast now, just so that it can move a bit quicker and it's no longer in planning mode. We're going to authorize that inside Netlify. So you can see it's opened up Netlify and we've allowed it access to that application. So if we go back to Antigravity, you can see it's now created the URL and it's deploying to Netlify. Let me zoom in for you there so you can see what's going on. And then if we open this up, we now have this deployed on Netlify, like you can see. Now, the agent is just going to test this actually works inside a separate browser, as you can see. Now, you can also see there's an issue with this because it doesn't have the start game button as well. So we'll have to fix that in a second. But that's a good thing with the AI testing is it will actually figure that out and then fix the project based on that, as you can see right here. So it's now going to record the playback. We can view the video of it being tested. And then boom. With the MCP, we now have the game hosted like so. And we can just play this game, right? And so this is deployed on a shareable subdomain. If we actually open this up on a incognito, we can test this out, just see if it's shareable with the world. So let's click on that. There we go, right? Nice. So if we close that, now we can go back to Antigravity and we can begin to add more MCPs to just layer this on and just make it a more interesting game, right? So if we go to MCPs, delete that, and we can search through and see, okay, what else would be useful to add to this, right? So for example, if you wanted to connect this with PayPal or Stripe, well, you could do that, like you can see right here. You could also connect this with Perplexity Ask, right? And then allow it to use research inside that tool as well, right? So for example, if we wanted to connect it to Superbase so people can log in and like see their scores and that sort of thing, we could do that right here, right? So we've actually connected the Superbase MCP server, as you can see. And again, if you need help with setting up the personal access token for that, then we've got it inside the notes and a free video tutorial right here. But if we go back to Antigravity now, we're going to go back to the chat and we'll say inside this, okay, now add a login plus a leaderboard so people can log in and see their previous scores. Plus add a start game button. and login page. Use the Superbase MCP to set this up. And that'll begin to build this out right now. Now, whilst we're waiting for that to load, you might have some questions or you might have some limited beliefs that hold you back from really like getting this implemented. You know, I see that with a lot of vibe coders, especially, is like they're new to the game, they want to build stuff, but something's holding them back and they just don't create the project that they need to. So hopefully this just helps you, right? So first of all, the old belief was like some people thought automation is only for developers, right? And you know, here's what most people think: like you need to know Python, JavaScript, APIs, webhooks, and all these complicated tech terms to automate anything. And they look at developers and think like, I could never do that, right? That's actually wrong. Okay. Um, you know, automation is just giving clear instructions to agents that actually implement for you. So I don't understand code. I can't speak any coding languages. I don't really know how MCPs properly work, to be honest with you. But you don't need to be a developer. You just need to be a director, right? So you just tell the agent what you want, it builds it, and that's really the new game that we're looking at. You kind of skip the whole coding um, method right here, and less and less. You need it less and less. Like a year ago, having some basic coding knowledge was advantageous, but right now you don't even need to be able to code to do this stuff. Like you just tell the agent what you want, and it goes off and implements it pretty much really fast, right? I mean, we've already created a new project, deployed it, and connected a new login page with a database plus a leaderboard, right? It's so easy to do this stuff right now, and you can do this all for free, right? So Superbase has a free tier. Netlify you can deploy for free. Antigravity you can use for free. Gemini 3 Flash you can use for free. Right? So it's a free vibe coding stack, basically. Alex asks, will it automatically deploy MCPs for you based on what you need to do? It actually won't. Um, so that's one of the things you want to be aware of is like, this is why I'm teaching it really is like, a lot of people ask like, how do you add the back end or how do you deploy projects, etc. So the way to do all of that is to make sure that you've connected these MCPs, right? Because you've got to get the personal access tokens, you've got to choose which one you want, and then from there you can start building out and deploying. You can also connect this to cool stuff like Notion as well. Notion is pretty cool, right? So you can, for example, like interact with Notion workspaces, pages, databases, and comments, right? So if you want to share this with your team or you have some sort of note-taking app, you can connect Notion with this as well. So we'll click on Allow here, and now it's got this login button, right? As you can see. And it's connected Superbase. So it's used the Superbase MCP servers to get this set up, as you can see, right? Plus, on the existing subdomain, you can see that we now have the login button. So once you've set up the MCP server inside the project, it will automatically deploy, right? And if you have changes to the login or the way the database is managed, well, then it will automatically use Superbase. But you have to activate those first. So if we click in login here, we can create an account, sign up. Let's try this out. Hit submit. We're signed up right there. And now we've got the confirmation for the sign up page, as you can see. And the agent is testing it for us in the background as well. Now, if you actually look in the chat here and you go to MCP servers, you'll see that there's a limited list, right? There's actually a lot more MCPs out there that you can use, right? So, for example, like there's even MCP for NotebookLM. So, if you want to use that, you can actually use something like Claude inside the terminal to start opening those up. I'll show you in a second how that works. In fact, we'll just do that whilst we're waiting. So if we go to new terminal here, then we're going to open up Claude Code. So we just type in Claude. As long as you've got Claude Code installed, it will get started. Then we can click yes, let's go. All right. And then what we need to do is find the MCP server for whatever we want to set up, right? If it's a custom one. So for example, let's say we want to set up NotebookLM MCP. So we can type in NotebookLM MCP like so. We're going to go to this GitHub, like you can see. Then we're going to copy the GitHub like this, go to Antigravity, go into the terminal here with Claude, right? We'll paste in the GitHub like you can see, and we'll say install this. And then I'll just grab the GitHub at the top here, go back into Antigravity, hit enter. And now it's creating the leaderboard on the right-hand side inside the agent chat. And then also inside the Claude chat, inside the terminal here, we're going to install NotebookLM MCP. All right, so we can install multiple MCPs at the same time as well, which is pretty cool. And we can add like different tools to our project just to make them more powerful and interesting. All right. And then you can see here, we've actually logged into the Tetris game, right? So you can see the log out button there. So we can log in, log out, and we've got the leaderboard section, right? So let's try this again. All right. And then if we just finish the game, let's have a look here. We've finished the game, right? And then if we go to the leaderboard now, you can see that it's tracked our results, right? So it actually stores our data inside a database, right? So for example, that game that we just finished, we now scored 100 on it. Here's the level, here's my username, and it's got the rank as well, right? And so we can share this game. People can log in, they can store their scores. We can share the leaderboard. We've connected to Supabase and also to Netlify MCP. And also we can install MCPs like, for example, NotebookLM, as you can see right inside Claude Code. So really, the power of Antigravity is unbelievable. Like what you can do with it is just unreal, especially when it's all free. And there's so much you can do with this, right? It's just endless. So let's see what we got here. Inside the questions, Alex asks, if I gave an agent instructions to develop an app as complex like Instagram and got Antigravity to build it, could it? It might take a long time, but it could build something similar for sure. What is an MCP? An MCP, just think of it like a tool that you can add, like a skill to Antigravity, right? So you've got Antigravity and it's got these basic features like it can create UI, it can create an app, it can create a game, but people can't log in. People can't deploy projects. You can't share data between people. So this just like augments Antigravity so that it's so much more powerful, right? You can just add and stack way more features onto it. So what is this Google Bolt? Yeah, it's a little bit like that. What else we got here? Do you have a current project? Yeah, so I mean, if you check out the AI profit board, you see all the projects that we're building right now. What's up, boss? Crazy Gamer says, I'm good. Not sure. Looks like it. Can you connect this to a local Olama server? So the way that you would do that, right, if you want to connect this to Olama, which is a way to run local LLMs for free, is if you go to Antigravity here, what you're going to do is install client, right? So you want to make sure you have client installed like this. All right, so if we go to, I'm just going to uninstall this and then I'll install it again for you to show you how to set it up. So you go to extensions over here, go to install on client. We'll close that terminal. Then it's going to show client in the bottom left here, right? Like you can see. Now with client, if you just resize the chats here, this is going to open up client, which is kind of like another IDE or kind of like another extension you can use inside your IDEs, right? But you can use extra free APIs inside here. So if you want to use, for example, like a local API, then what you would do is you just make sure you have Olama installed, which you can get for free at olama.com. From there, you're going to download the model that you're going to use and just run it in the terminal. Make sure that's running. And then from there, you configure client, right? So what you would do is you click the client settings option, select Olama as the API provider, and then use the base URL, right? So for example, like this, open up Olama, we've got that running here. Right, this is running the LLM locally. Then if we go back to Antigravity here, you can see that we have Olama, right? Client Olama running like that. Now you can see that's testing and it's running Olama inside the API, right? So in the bottom left, it will say client Olama. Not sure if you can see that. So let me show you there. Don't know if you can see that on the screen, but yeah, that's basically what it works. And then we're using Olama for the API. So that's how you would use it inside Antigravity, just as an extension. Helios says, but design capability is not great of Antigravity. So yeah, again, like you can use better APIs. Like for example, if you use Claude Opus as the API inside Antigravity, you're going to get better results. Or you can use Claude Code. Or if you want to use something free or cheaper, then you can use client with Minimax inside Antigravity just to boost the UI, right? So usually what I'll do is I'll get the basic UI from Antigravity, and then I'm going to switch that over to using Claude Code inside the terminal and just improve and tweak the UI, right, with Claude Code, which means that I'll get much better results. Crazy Gamer says Antigravity is basically free because Google providing. Yeah, Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, there are different tiers with anti-gravity, but again, if you run out of API limits or tokens, then you can switch between the APIs. So you can switch back to Claude Opus or to Gemini Fast or to Olama, as I was showing you with client. So can you please tell us how to build the best AI agents on Python code? But I don't know if I'm doing it right. For that, like if you, I mean, like I've shown you how to use AI agents today and how to use that process. But if you're still struggling, like feel free to post inside the AI Profit Boardroom and just get help, right? We've actually got coaching calls where you can jump on live calls and get help and support, unlimited technical support, or you can actually post your questions inside the community here. So for example, like Kevin is also working on his first NA10 agent build, and he asked for help, right? He was like, you know, I'd love your input. What would you improve? Blah, blah, blah. And like 16 people got back to him and just helped him, right? So that's the best way to get technical support on this sort of stuff. Antigravity is a VS clone. Yeah, it's basically a clone of VS Code. But the difference is you get the browser and you also get free usage of Claude Opus, which is insane, right? Make the EMV file. You don't even have to do that, right? You just install the extension inside Antigravity, and then it will actually add the APIs itself, right? So, you know, if you're setting up, for example, Olama, you just do it directly. By the way, Morich, really appreciate the donation there. Thank you very much, sir. Crazy Gamer says, tell your Antigravity to study any agent framework like LangChain or Crew AI. Then after that, get the basic agent. Then improve adding tools and MCPs. It's easy, then fixes output another. Awesome. Yeah, I like that idea. Thank you very much. Wilty says, hit the like and share. Thank you very much, sir. And Morris says, that's even easier. Thank you, sir. Always happy. Thank you. That was way better than GPT. 100%. If you're still using ChatGPT, by the way, anyone who's watching, you gotta fix that. You know, like GPT 5.2 right now is one of the worst versions of ChatGPT I've ever used. So yeah, thanks so much, everyone. That is how to use anti-gravity. If you want to get a step-by-step tutorial on how to use this stuff, you can get it inside the free AI Success Lab, link in the comments description, like you can see. And if you go to the classroom here, then you're going to go to January 2026 part 2. And from here, you'll find the notes for Google Antigravity if you just scroll down the left and click on this section, right? And basically, you know, what you've learned to use today is like how to use Google's new Antigravity tool to build entire apps without writing code, the secret MCP servers that connect AI agents directly to your business tools, how to automate, you know, anything pretty much. Like you could automate client work, you could automate content creation, lead generation using these AI agents. You've seen a live demo build-in automations. I've given you an exact 30-day framework to go from like I don't code to I have AI agents running in my business. And you've seen how, you know, solopreneurs like myself or other people watching this can replace entire teams and scale faster than ever using this process. Plus, I've given you the 30-day plan, some beliefs that might help you figure this out, and also 100 different prompts that you can actually use with MCPs for anti-gravity, like you can see. So you can see a bunch of different MCP prompts and different prompts you can use to build with this. So thanks so much for watching. If you want to get an amazing community of winners who are building and creating and just implementing AI inside their business, check out the AI Profit Boardroom. This is an amazing community where you get unlimited tech support. So if you need help with this sort of stuff, you can actually post inside the community and get help and support like I've shown you. We have a daily accountability group. So, you know, if you're struggling with anything, or, you know, let's say you're struggling with overwhelm and shiny object syndrome, which is very, very common, by the way, then you can actually post inside this group, post your goals for the day, focus and stay laser focused on that, and then make sure you actually achieve them, right? That's what everyone does inside this group to make sure that we're creating amazing stuff. And that's how so many people are getting wins with this, right? We have this daily accountability group. People check in, people post, people share their goals, people congratulate each other. You know, if someone creates a project like this, for example, Jay created his first AI video project, you can see 86 comments of people just sharing and just like raising Jay up with what he's doing, right? And that's what we're all about, sharing and winning and learning and growing together, right? Now, again, as I said, we have 4 coaching calls per week. So you can jump on the coaching calls, get help and support whenever you need them, and meet the community. Inside the classroom here, you also get our best trainings on, for example, how to go from complete beginner to expert with AI automation, and also how to build your first AI agent in under 5 minutes. On top of that, you also get the playbook that shows you, for example, how I automate videos on my YouTube channel, how I automate newsletters, Twitter automations, shorts, etc. Additionally, you will get my full teachings on how to get more clients for your agency. You can watch back the coaching call recordings if you can't make them live. You get my best AI SEO automations to rank #1 inside Google and AI search engines, and also a full roadmap on how I grew and scaled my YouTube channel. And that's all inside the AI Profit Boarding. Feel free to get it. Link in the comments description. I will warn you that we do have a limited time a deal on this right now, as you can see. So make sure you sign up now before you miss out, because this is changing today. So you want to make sure you sign up today before you miss out on that. But yeah, that's exactly how to use Google Antigravity to automate with MCPs. Today, we're going to be looking at the new updates from Gemini CLI, which is a free AI agent you can code with inside your terminal. So let's test this out. You can see, for example, you can actually set up skills now inside Antigravity. So you can install skills and set them up. You've actually got a full doc on how to set this up, and you can empower your agents with new skills, like you can see, right? Now, if you want to get started with Gemini CLI, let me show you how. So this is basically like something you can build with and use directly inside your terminal. So let's get started with this. We're going to open this up. So we've opened up our terminal, and then we've just run this terminal command, like you can see. So the main updates here are #1, experimental agent skill support in preview. You've also got Gemini CLI wrapped to see your usage stats, top models, and languages. You've additionally got Windows clipboard image support, terminal background color detection, so automatically optimizes your terminal's background color to select compatible themes, and then also session logout as well to like instantly clear your credentials and reset the authentication. So let's get started with this. So you can see we just ran this instantly using this command from the GitHub. Then we're going to go to terminal, like you can see right here. And if we say, okay, create a landing page for my AI automation community. It's going to start building this out. Now, personally, for me, if I have a choice, like I would normally go for using Antigravity, Google Antigravity for building with this, just because I prefer the UI and I don't really like coding inside a terminal. But if you want to learn how to use this, which I think is always useful, then you can just set this up inside the terminal, and it is a free tool you can use. So I'm going to show you how to use it today with the new updates. Then it's going to ask like for your goals, what you want to build, the vibe, etc. So I'm just going to paste this in. Then it says, does this plan look good for you? We're going to click yes. And there we go, right? So we now have this landing page built, as you can see right here, um, on this page, right? Pretty quick and easy. So the only thing that I don't like about this is just it's way more technical than using something like Google Antigravity. But if you want to use CLI, that's basically how to use it, and you can see it running and hosting locally here. Now, let's say you want to use some of the new updates. So, for example, like some of this stuff right here. So let's try this out. This is the experimental agent skill support. We're going to install the preview. And then if we type in settings here, we can edit the settings. And then we can change the preview features here to true. And you can scroll up and down between these different updates, right? So for example, preview features, like you see. And then you can see now it's discovered the agent skills, right? So for example, PR creator uses skill when asked to create a pull request. Now, if you want to add like different skills, like you see right here, so for example, enable my expertise. It's now enabled, right? So that new skill is set up. Then if you want to disable it, you can click on this like that, right? Kind of it's a little bit like Claude Skills where you can just add skills to the CLI for coding. And then also, for example, you can set up a structure like this, right? So for example, if you want to, let's say you wanted like a team code reviewer inside CLI, well, you could copy this like so, go into terminal like that, and then set up, right? So for example, this one, name code reviewer, here's a description, here's what it does. And then it will actually provide feedback as a concise list of strengths and opportunities. And then it's like, right, do you allow this skill? We're going to click allow for this session. And boom, it's writing this to its skill MD file, right? So kind of similar to the way that Claude has skills as well. You can use these and enable them inside Google Gemini as well. And then if you click on the list, so if you actually type in Gemini skills list to get a list of all the skills that you're using inside Gemini CLI, you can see, for example, we now have 2 skills, right? So previously we only had one, which was PR creator. And now we can add another one, which is code reviewer. And then you can see it stored in here. Here's a skill, here's what it does. And you can now use it by asking Gemini CLI for feedback or a review or check, right? And so you can enable new skills inside CLI. And again, this is a free way to code. Like I said, I prefer Google Antigravity, but if you want to use Gemini CLI, I know there's demand for it, then you can use it this way and just add and enable agent skills directly inside the terminal. Pretty quick and easy. And that literally just came out on the 7th of January recently. So let's see what questions we have right now. Boss is Go, unlike his insane avatar. Thank you. For anyone who's not sure what he's talking about there, basically I have an AI avatar that creates videos too, and usually beats me in the views, like 9 times out of 10. G says, I've shared your channel with 5 friends. Thank you so much. Helios says Google's way too fast at creating. It is insane. That is genuinely the most insane thing. It's like how quickly Google builds and ships stuff. Matt says, good morning. How can I DM you? So actually, let me show you. So if you want to be able to DM me, you can go and join the AI Profit Boardroom community. This is the only place where I actually respond to DMs. So if you go inside the community here, you can direct message me inside the community, or you can post inside here and I personally answer your questions, right? So you can see, for example, here, Kevin posted this like 15 hours ago, and I got back to him personally right here, as you can see, right, with an answer and how to use this. So if you want tips, you can see. So for example, like Kevin was saying how to, how do you use this and blah, blah, blah. And I said this, here's how you can use it. And he was like, this breakdown is gold. Thanks so much. So, that was within 15 hours. So if you want to be able to DM me, this is the best place to do it. And we give you unlimited technical support. So if you need help, if you need support, if you need technical stuff, like you can see today, that was quite technical, then you can get help and support from me and also 2,100 other entrepreneurs who are trying to help you. Hang with Jay says, I've been using Gemini and VS Code, but Antigravity seems like the perfect merger. I would agree. I think the Antigravity is perfect for that. I don't get the Gmail update. Should I update something? So it might be the case that it depends what country you're in, right? So some countries it's not being released to. I know they're rolling out to the US first for the Gmail update inside Google. Basically, if anyone's not sure about that, they're adding AI to Gmail to answer and handle your inbox and basically automate your emails. What are you building? So today we built out a landing page and then we added agent skills, kind of like Claude skills, where we can give more tools and give more ideas and pre-made workflows and automations inside Gemini CLI. Show me one site you have built with an LLM. All right, I'll show you a few. So if we go to Google and we type in AI Profit Boarding, you can see that my LLM built site, this one, was built with AI. It ranks #1 for the keyword and it funnels traffic to the AI Profit Boardroom, right? So when people search this, it's completely automated with AI. We actually built this with Manus, which is kind of like an AI super agent. And then it built out the whole page, automated and that sort of thing, right? Another one that we actually built was with Bolt. So you can see here, we built Enterprise SEO ROI Calculator. It's like a calculator website, as you can see right here. And then it's ranking #1 for that keyword as well, outranking some of the biggest names in the industry, like, for example, Ahrefs. And it even outranks my own website as well, which is pretty crazy. And then the final one that we built was this landing page. So we built this with Claude Opus 4.5. It built out the page, wrote the copy, created the design, looks way better than my actual website. And we did that with Claude Opus directly. Also, you can see at juliangoldie.com, we actually built this whole section right here using AI as well. So pretty simple and easy. The digital avatar needed time off. He was getting tired. Crazy Gamer says there are lots of websites today all vibe coded. Yeah, exactly. Have you used the CLI to develop anything personally? Not really, no. I don't really use that. For me, I prefer to use um, Antigravity, like I was saying. Claude as well directly is much easier to use than using the CLI. I just think like the CLI UI is not very nice at all. So thanks so much for watching. If you want to get help personally from me and join a community of people building and creating and posting stuff, you can check out the AI Profit Boardroom, link in the comments description. This is an amazing community of 2,100 members who are all here learning, growing, building, and helping each other with AI. So you can see, for example, even Darren like said, there's no such thing as a stupid question. Like if you need help, post your questions, get help and support whenever you need it. We're all here for you, right? You can also post inside the community. You can see, for example, if we go inside the classroom here, you can get access to all of my best classes. So, for example, like a 6-week AI automation masterclass that helps you go from beginner to expert with AI. And also learn how to build AI agents in under 5 minutes. Additionally, you can see, for example, our playbook that shows you, for example, how to create AI avatar videos, how to automate Twitter, how to automate newsletters. These are all the playbooks that work for me. On top of that, if you want to get clients and you want to grow your agency, check out our agency course right here. You can also learn how to rank #1 with AI SEO automation using this section. And also we have a full YouTube 6-week roadmap that shows you how to go from complete beginner to expert with AI. And also we have 4 weekly coaching calls. So you can jump on the coaching calls, get help, get support whenever you need it. We have a deal on that's going to expire soon. So make sure you check out. You can see it right here. These are the details and you can get that if you sign up today. One second, peeps. All right, so today I'm going to show you how to build and automate anything with NotebookLM. And we'll start from the basics. So for example, if you want to create a new notebook, you can go over here. And basically NotebookLM is kind of like a media engine that can create all sorts of things, do research for you. And it's like an all-in-one tool that's completely free, right? So for example, here, let's say, for example, I want to learn how to use Gemini CLI, right? Let's say I'm learning a new skill or I'm trying to train my team or I'm trying to create content around it, right? Could be doing all 3 things at the same time. So what we can do here is we could type in Gemini CLI into this. It will actually search the web. We can actually choose to use Google Drive as well if we want to. We can select between deep research and fast research. This is better, but it takes longer. This is faster, but less deep. And then we're going to click enter like so. And then from there, we can search the web for our particular tool, right? In the meantime, we've got some questions here. So Pop says, ever create instructions to make Gemini platform perform like Opus 4.5? No, I don't really see the need. Like, I just usually default to using Claude, or you can use Opus 4.5 directly inside Google Antigravity. Lewis says, what do you think about lovable vibe coding? I used to use it a lot, but I think, like, honestly, you can just go straight to the source and use Google Antigravity, or you can use Claude Code, and they're just as good, if not better, right? And usually tools like Lovable as well, they're kind of like wrappers for these APIs, and so I'd rather just go straight to the source and build with that. So you can see over here, we now have the sources pulled in to our notebook, and then if we want to create like audio views, video views, mind maps, reports, like a blog post or a study guide, we could do that. Flashcards, quizzes, infographics, slide decks, and data tables. And we could do all of that at the same time, right? So that's actually going to break down exactly how to use this. Now, in the meantime, I've actually got this chat right here. So if we go inside the settings here, we can customize this to exactly how we want the AI to respond. So for example, if I click on custom here and I'm like, okay, respond as an AI automation expert who makes complex things simple. Plus, break it down at the grade level so it's easy to understand, right? We'll take that, then we're going to go to custom, paste that in, boom, hit save. There we go, ready to go, right? And so now if we say, okay, how to use Gemini CLI. He's actually going to break that down. As you can see, it's also created a lot of the assets already. So for example, we've got our data table right here, and we have the mind map for the Gemini ecosystem. And so you can automate mind maps, infographics, data tables, etc. using this. And you can use this as kind of like a chatbot that's custom trained to exactly what you want, right? And it's probably the easiest and fastest way to do this. I mean, we've literally done that in a few minutes, right? And so, for example, here is like, here's what you're going to do. So you're going to open up your terminal, then you're going to paste this command, and then once it finishes, you're going to type Gemini, boom. That's how you use it, right? And that's a really simple and easy way to use Gemini to basically build and automate anything. Now, what you can also do here is if you go over to Gemini, depending on whether you're on the pro or the free plan, you can also automate the Gemini stuff into a website or a landing page or a mini app or a game, right? So for example, here, if we go to plus, so click on the plus sign, click on NotebookLM if you're on the pro plan, right? And then you can pull this in, right? And you can also pull in multiple notebooks that you've trained stuff on. So if you want to learn multiple topics at the same time or use multiple notebooks at the same time, you can directly inside here. But if we just want to go with a basic one, we can go with that, right? Now, also, if you want to use the free version, then you would just grab the information like you can see right here. So for example, we could take, we could say, give me a full guide on this. And then we could grab that text and plug it into Gemini as well. So there's two different ways to use it, depending on whether you're on the free plan or the pro plan. I'm going to use the pro plan just because it's simpler and easier on the live stream to show you this. And then we're going to switch to Canvas here, and we can say, okay, build a website about Gemini CLI using the information from a notebook, right? Something like that. Now, what we can also do here is if we go to the notebook, pull in the same thing, plug this in, hit add, type that in. What we can do from here is we can say, okay, build out a mini app about this, right? So build a mini app about Gemini CLI. In the same time, we can also do the same thing, right? And we can just repeat this over and over again to build out a game as well. So if we say build a game based on this, hit enter. And now we've got a website, a mini app, and a game all being built at the same time, right? Whilst we've got all the videos and everything else loading, as you can see over here. Now, I've already got a quiz ready to go. So for example, if we click on this, we can actually learn this topic or teach our team this topic using this quiz. So which model in the Gemini 1.0 family is specifically described as the most efficient, blah, blah, blah. So we'll go with Pro, and it says Nano is the right answer, okay? It just gives you a bunch of ideas on how to learn this stuff, like you can see. If we go over to the canvas here, you can see the website is beginning to code out. We've got the mini app as well being built out here. And then we have the game being built out as well, right? Now, if you want to see some examples of the videos and stuff like that, we'll come on to it in a second. So just wait for it to load. But yeah, you've basically automated the quiz, a game, even flashcards, for example. If we go on this, we've got the flashcards. So what are the 3 sizes available in the Gemini 1.0 family? And then it gives us some ideas right here, right? And so we can learn things really quickly. We can create games, we can create tools, websites, etc. Basically anything using this. Now, one of the other cool things you can do here is you can actually use this MCP. So this is a GitHub that allows you to control NotebookLM with other terminals and other tools, right? So for example, if you're like, I love NotebookLM, but I don't want to use Google products and I don't want to use it inside Gemini CLI, right? Then you can go over to Claude and you can actually use the MCP of NotebookLM, but control it with Claude. Let me show you how that works. So if we open up Claude here, all right, so you can see Claude like so. You can see that it's connected to the MCP for NotebookLM, right? So we're using the NotebookLM MCP. It lists our notebooks, like you can see. Then what we can also do is we can create audio overviews directly inside Claude, right? So this is Claude Desktop, but we've connected it to NotebookLM to actually create those, right? So for example, here we actually created an infographic. It created it like so. There's a status so it can actually grab and connect to see what's up to. And then we've got a breakdown. So we've created an infographic and an audio overview directly inside Open NotebookLM, right? And then what you actually do is link to those directly. And if you go inside the studio, we have the audio podcast and the video and the infographic, which we created inside Claude, but we can preview it now inside NotebookLM, right? And so you can basically connect this to other tools to automate whatever you want. Now, using that information, you could then go off and use Claude Code to build out, for example, a website using the infographic embedded, or a video on a landing page, or an audio podcast on the blog post, right? And embed the tools that you create inside Claude Code directly inside, the tools. So you can embed the assets that you create inside NotebookLM inside your tools that you create with Claude. And so using that, you've basically got Claude, but it's now got the power of NotebookLM because it's connected to the MCP server, right? So for example, here, if we go to connectors, you can see that we have the NotebookLM MCP set up. And if we're like, okay, create a podcast overview with NotebookLM MCP, we've got that ready to go. Now, if you're wondering, okay, how do we do that? How do we set that up? So it's pretty simple. What you're going to do is you're going to go to connectors over here, and then you're going to configure the file for NotebookLM, right? Now, how do you do that? So you go to your MCP file for Claude, and then you just edit it from there. It's the MCP config file that you want to edit. And then once you've done that, you can pull it in here. The other option is that you can go to, for example, Claude Code inside the desktop. And then any sort of GitHub repositories you want to set up, you just go inside Claude Code and say like, set up this or build this, etc., and install this. So if we go back to the chat now, It's now using the MCP tool, Audio Overview Create, and it will connect the MCP to NotebookLM so that we can start creating podcasts and so that you can build podcasts and video views and everything else directly inside there. Now, if we come back to Gemini here, we've now got the output. So this is the website that Gemini created using NotebookLM. If we go to the app, we have the mini app installed right here. And then if we go to the game, you can see that we've created that game based on Gemini CLI as well, right? So it says, welcome developer, your mission, blah, blah, blah. Follow the tasks in the status bar below. And you just type in the terminal commands down here to test yourself in terms of how you can use it, right? And so there's so many different things that you can build with NotebookLM. Most people think like, oh, it's just for podcasts and video reviews, but actually there's so much more you can do with this. Julian says, thank you very much. Julian Goldie, happy to help. And that is basically how to automate and build anything with NotebookLM. Now, if you want to get my best trainings on that, you can get that inside the AI Profit Boardroom, link in the comments description. So if you type in NotebookLM at the top here, inside the archive, what you're going to see is all of these different trainings on how you can use NotebookLM, right? You can also see all the posts inside the community, so what people are using and building with this and that sort of thing. So for example, like Thompson is using Excel data and uploading it to NotebookLM. You've got, for example, Paris, who's creating some insane infographics with this. And all sorts of crazy stuff that you can do with this, right? And the AI Profit Boardroom basically is a community designed to help us all learn, grow, and build together. And inside the community here, you can see there's 2,100 people ready to help, right? So if you have questions, if you need support, etc., you can see, for example, even Darren posted like, there's no such thing as a bad question. Like, feel free to ask anything that you need to. And you can see, for example, all these different wins and courses and stuff people are building with AI. Top of that, inside the win section, you can see what people have actually created. And also, if you have any questions, you can post here and get help and support whenever you need to. Now, inside the classroom, what you're going to find is a full 6-week roadmap that shows you how to automate your business step by step and go from complete beginner to expert with AI automation. And you'll learn how to build your first AI agent in under 5 minutes. On top of that, you'll learn how to automate avatar videos and automate content creation for your business based on what's working for me. You'll get all our best playbooks, how to land agency clients, our best AI SEO automations, and our full YouTube AI 6-week roadmap that shows you how to build a YouTube channel based on what's working for me. Additionally, inside the calendar here, you can see we have 4 weekly coaching calls. You can get coaching calls 4 times a week, get help and support live whenever you need it. And we're always happy to help. So that's directly inside the AI Profit Boardroom. As you can see, I will warn you now, there's a deal on today. So if you sign up today, you can see that you'll get all of this when you sign up today. And feel free to get that inside the link in the comments and description, or go to the AIProfitBoardroom.com. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.